When it comes to investing, there are a few things that the big institutions and Wall Street don't want you to know. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dawson, and I started in the financial services industry when I was 17 years old. So I'm going on about 10 years now of working actively in financial services independently. And I'm not here to give you financial advice. Here to give you some different tips and things I've learned over my years that are unconventional and that the big institutions really don't want you to know because it takes away from their bottom line and it doesn't help them make money. So, the number one thing I want to talk about today is actual rate of return versus average rate of return. When you're looking at your statement, you get a statement for your investment, or if someone's going to give you a whole portfolio that they're going to be proposing to you, a lot of the times they're going to be using something called the average rate of return. What that means is it's the average of all the years previously put together to give you an idea of what the rate of return will be in the future. I know this is basic stuff, but for an example of actual versus real rate of return, I'll put it up on the screen, but what you can do is you can take $100, put it into an investment, and say you get a 100% rate of return one year. That goes up to $200. Simple enough. The following year, you have $200, but the market's dropped by 50%. Okay, now you're back to $100 because 50% of 200 is $100. So maybe the next year things go crazy again. You get a 100% rate of return. So, all right, great. You're back up to $200 and your investment's making money. Now, the final year, year four, things go south again and it drops by 50%. So you're left with $100 at the end of the year. Now, just for bare bones example here, we're not getting into all the details and the nitty gritty, but over those 4 years, you've had some ups and downs and you end up back where you started at $100. Now, if you're looking at average rate of return, the average rate of return over those 4 years is going to be 25%, even though you're back to where you started. So that's different than the real rate of return because you didn't get anywhere. You're back to $100 even though you've earned 100%, you've lost 50, earned 100, you've lost 50. So when you're looking at statements and when you're listening to different people talk about average rates of return, you have to actually look at the numbers and make sure that you're getting what you sign up for. So the average rate of return doesn't always mean everything. It's not the full picture. You have to look at other things in order to make a decision. So this is just an easy example that a lot of people don't talk about to show that average is not always what you want to be looking at when it comes to rate of return. The banks and Wall Street want a few things and they don't really tell you about it because that's how they make their money. Number one is they want as much of your money as possible in incremental, consistent payments. They want to hold it for as long as possible and give you back as little as possible. The reason for this is because they make money by holding on to your money, by lending it out to other people through management fees and various ways. They make money by you having your money with them. This isn't a bad thing. This is how the institutions work. It's just you have to be aware of these things so that you know how the game works. And if you go to the bank and you deposit a large check, $10,000, $15,000, you get a bonus, whatever it is, the first thing they're going to do is ask for you to speak with one of their advisors. And the reason for this is so that they can capture that check, keep it in the institution, make money off of it, and keep you in the system that they have. The same goes with Wall Street. You put money into an investment or a brokerage fund, they want as much as possible for as long as possible. The reason being is because they get a management fee every single year from your assets. And it's not a bad thing. It's just a tool and it's a system that's in place that you have to know the logistics of. You need to know how it works. And so a lot of people don't know this. A lot of people overlook it. They're not aware of it. They don't think about it, but it's how the institutions make their money. So if you can find a way to become your own bank and leverage your assets and utilize your assets instead of giving control to the institutions, that's one way that you can work on your building your wealth and having a stronger financial future. Because when you give up control of your assets, it gives up the opportunity to take advantage of different things that come up, whether it's investments or opportunities. If you don't have control over your money and it's locked up within institutions, you can't take advantage of opportunities that come up. Now, it's not to say that you can't utilize their systems as tools and, have some of your money in these different buckets, but if you put all of your money in one place and you don't have access to it when an opportunity comes up, you're losing the game. You're playing their game, giving them control of your money when you should have control over some of it and be your own bank to some degree. So that's number two that a lot of people don't consider, is that the banks want control of your money, Wall Street wants control of your money, all the institutions want control over your assets because that's how they make money. Number three is that when you're chasing a higher rate of return, it's in direct correlation with a higher risk. So what that means is this in simple terms: the higher rate of return you want, the more likely you are to lose money. People don't look at it that way though. They look at it as you can make more money if you take a higher rate, higher risk. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Now, if you're young and you've got 50 years ahead of you, you can handle losing a little bit of money. It's not the most efficient way, but you can recover from it. If you're getting up into your 40s, 50s, 60s, and your runway to retirement is a lot lower, why would you be wanting to take on astronomical amounts of risk to chase a 15% rate of return when you could get the same results by being more efficient with your money and finding the places that you're losing it unknowingly and unnecessarily? Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing to have a higher rate of return. What I'm saying is a lot of people don't tell you the full story. They'll say that I can get you a higher rate of return than this guy. My investments can outperform this bank or outperform your financial advisor. And they're not telling you that in order to get this 12, 13, 14, 15% rate of return, you're going to be incurring a lot more risk on your assets, and it's going to be a lot more volatile over the long run. And people don't take into consideration that you might be getting a 13% rate of return, but is that including the taxes you're paying, the management fees, the inflation costs over time? Are you taking these things into consideration that you're getting a real rate of return of 13%? And is it an average rate of return of 13%? Are you doing all your due diligence to know that this is the right opportunity or the right investment for you? And are there ways that you could be more efficient with your money to get the same result as a 13% rate of return by being more efficient? There's all these different layers to look at when people like to focus on chasing a 13 or high rate of return. They don't take into consideration all these other elements to it, and they just think that if they can get 13%, they're going to be able to retire, and this is the only way to do it. But a lot of institutions and a lot of mainstream people like to focus on rates of return, and they don't like to say that risk is directly correlated with a higher rate of return. But there's also another way to do it where you could get a higher rate of return, the equivalent of a high rate of return, by being more efficient with your money and implementing the right strategies. So today was just a short video to give you guys an idea of how the financial game works with institutions and Wall Street. And I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm not saying that what they do is bad. I'm just trying to give you all of the information so that you understand how the game works and you can make the right decisions accordingly. Now, hopefully this did help you out. Let me know in the comments below and give me an idea of what you'd like to learn about in the future. So, thank you for watching.